This course reviews the tools available to a U.S. importer to help manage their import operations. It is presented from the perspective of a customs broker that has worked with a wide range of import customers. The 7 bullet points shown in this slide provide the structure of this course. Details of each bullet topic are presented through videos, PowerPoints, supplemental reading, periodic testing, and 4 online classroom sessions. This course will provide information and tools to assist in making these rather obvious themes possible. There are the export and import functions. Successful transactions link the two together. The buyer, who's the importer, should take a good look at the supplier's pro forma invoice and suggest updates and clarify points before proceeding with issuing the purchase order. The buyer should be conversant with the capabilities, experience, and character of the supplier. In other words, know your supplier. An international transaction often involves the participation and input of several supply chain vendors. Cargo moves on the accuracy of the documentation created and skillful communication between the involved parties. The process flow can be simply illustrated by these main steps. Think of the documentation progression as a handoff from the seller's forwarder to the seller, to the importer, to the importer's customs broker. The foreign freight forwarder and the U.S. customs broker are the key vendors in coordinating the activities that occur along the entire supply chain. The second major section of this course extracts the highlights of HCB's Customs Law course, which goes into much more detail. A U.S. importer is expected to have knowledge of the key aspects of customs law. Having a good customs broker will serve as a great partner to the U.S. importer. Although the broker is the professional, the importer needs to be able to ask the right questions and understand key areas of customs law. The next 6 slides discuss the presentation highlights. Valuation matters concern pricing of what is and what isn't dutiable. Correct classification of your product is key in determining duty rates and entry requirements. Especially for new importers, CBP places a special emphasis on examining that country of origin marking is properly shown on the cargo and/or the individual items being imported. With multiple country input in producing a product, deciding which country is the proper origin involves several governing rules. Other key tools and regulations an importer should be aware of include drawback, which is the oldest provision of this customs service, the protection of intellectual property rights, and the ability to keep cargo under custody within the U.S. or through re-export. Mistakes and oversights happen when dealing with CBP. Thankfully, the U.S. provides means to refund overpayment of duty. Some issues are more than just oversights that can be corrected. For various ranges of culpability, CBP imposes liquidated damages and fines. An importer should be aware of and avoid the imposition of forced compliance and how this can prove costly. Although most entries into the United States are consumption entries, there are various tools the importer can employ to defer, reduce, or possibly eliminate duty that is normally assessed on the product being imported. Most of what is usually termed import compliance comes down to knowledge of the regulations and procedures, and of course, common sense. This section of the course describes tools the importer can use to avoid compliance issues of the sort that can lead to fines, penalties, or liquidated damages. Some CBP programs are like a carrot to benefit the importer that takes advantage of participation, such as paying duty via ACH. On the flip side, CBP has the power to make life difficult for an importer that doesn't comply with import regulations or procedures. CBP is typically the enforcement arm for other government agency non-compliance, such as violating FDA import procedures. Underlying valuation and classification principles make up most of these bulleted points of most common import errors. The key middleman between the importer and CBP is the customs broker. In this section, we discuss the typical customs broker functions and point out attributes that distinguish a good customs broker from an average one. The main customs broker functions are listed here. Knowing some of the inner workings of the relationship between CBP, other government agencies, and the customs broker can make sense of the pieces of the entry puzzle. In addition to understanding customs regulations, the broker is involved with other government agencies as well. These are among the other agencies the customs broker should have working knowledge of how to make declarations involving goods that are under an agency's jurisdiction. And the broker needs to be conversant with knowing which type of entry is best suited for the shipment at hand. Most customs clearances are consumption entries, but employing another entry type may be the more appropriate or optimal means of handling imported cargo. Through worldwide affiliates or being part of a multi-office operation, customs brokers are able to offer transportation routings from overseas origins to the final U.S. destination. Typically, however, the customs broker role is more involved with the routing from the U.S. clearance point to the final destination. Incoterms are key concepts that directly relate to inward traffic management. This indicates the responsibilities of the buyer and seller in an international transaction. The risk of ownership passes from the seller to the buyer depending upon the terms utilized. A separate presentation explores Incoterms in more detail. Depending upon what transportation configurations are available, freight costs can potentially be saved. A separate presentation on international shipping operations and options explores this and other transportation information in more detail. You'll be shown a presentation highlighting what an importer should know about international cargo insurance. An access database has been developed by HCB. Using this software as a means to tie together all facets of an import shipment, from PO issuance to post-entry considerations. A handy letter of transmittal to the customs broker can be generated, provide the broker with the needed information to aid in a smooth clearance. Video demos on the HCB website explain how this wizard works. Access to an online library of international reference material is available with registration of the Import Office Management course. This organizes hundreds of reference documents, internet links, and presentations into relevant categories. The International Operations Manual lists useful publications, both hard copy and online, that can provide continued subject reading on the various subjects of this course. By picking the instructor's brain, other tips, tools, and resources may come to light and be of benefit in managing your import office. If this overview prompts your registration to the Import Office Management course, complete the short questionnaire. Your answers will provide us further background to focus on the emphasized training topics.